The film opens with Matthew Kidman, a bright Westport High School senior who aspires to be a politician in the future. He has been admitted to Georgetown University, but he will only be able to go if he is awarded a substantial scholarship. With graduation nearing, he finds it difficult to recall anything particularly remarkable from his high school years. When he sees his peers skipping class to go to the beach and relax, he expresses his desire to do the same. His buddies, Eli and Klitz, however, refuse to accompany him. He ventures off on his own, but returns midway through, overthinking the problem. After that, he heads back to his house. When Matthew goes out to dispose of some garbage late at night, he observes a lovely young lady called Danielle, who has recently become his neighbor. Matthew is awestruck by her beauty. When he gets home, he begins to tell his friend Eli about the girl. Danielle is then seen changing her clothing in front of his window, which he observes with his mouth wide open. While Matthew is immersed in her stunning figure, Danielle turns around and catches him staring at her. An embarrassed Matthew then hides under the window. Danielle rushes over to Matthew's house after the event and begins conversing with his parents. Matthew's father invites him downstairs, and he is really afraid about what is going to happen. But rather than complaining about him, Danielle has come to ask him a favor. She wants him to guide her through the new city. Matthew's parents tell him to accompany Danielle to the city and show her around, and he gladly accepts. The two of them then get into Danielle's car and drive away. Danielle pulls over to the side of the road and asks Matthew whether he enjoyed what he saw through the window earlier. However, Matthew apologizes for what he did and claims that it was only a coincidence. During the car ride, Danielle isn't angry with Matthew. Nevertheless, she makes him run nude across the street as a kind of revenge. They then enter a cafe and have a conversation about each other. There, Matthew gets to know that Danielle has left her previous job and is there to start her new chapter of life. She then presents him with a lovely sketch. It appears like the two are becoming drawn to one another. Danielle, the eccentric, and Matthew, the steady, each turn out to be the perfect match for the other, and they fall in love right away. The next day, Danielle approaches Matthew outside his classroom and invites him to join her for a ride. Matthew leaves his class and the two proceed on their adventure. She brings Matthew to an unfamiliar house's swimming pool late at night, and they start having a good time. As they approach closer, and just as they're ready to kiss, Matthew notices that the pool they're in belongs to his high school principal. They leave the area as soon as they realize this. Matthew then drives Danielle to his friend's residence. Eli and Klitz, two of his buddies, are astonished to find them together. They soon go for a party, where Matthew's classmates attempt to flirt with Danielle based on her attractiveness and engaging demeanor. Matthew, on the other hand, summons the bravery to attend the party and kiss Danielle in front of all of the guests. The next day, Matthew appears to be in a good mood, but it does not last long. Matthew's relationship with Danielle is tested when he learns through his porn-obsessed buddy Eli that Danielle used to work as an adult film actress under the stage name Athena. Eli then reveals one of her porn tapes to Matthew, who is taken aback by her actions. Eli then advises that he take Danielle to a motel and take advantage of her. When Matthew gets home, he finds Danielle and his mother looking through his old photographs. At this point, Matthew can't look at Danielle the same way he used to after learning she was a porn star. Following Eli's suggestion on how to deal with this incredible revelation, Matthew chooses to take Danielle to a cheap motel. He also gives her a bottle of vodka on the way so she can perform at her best. Danielle deduces from Matthew's actions that he has uncovered her history and punishes him by doing a striptease and sexually giving herself to him once they arrive at the motel. When Matthew becomes distressed and asks why she is degrading herself for him, Danielle calls him out on his base intentions and abruptly ends the relationship. In the next scene, when Matthew returns to Danielle's residence to try to reconcile with her, he discovers an attractive young guy named Kelly. He then sees Danielle, who assures him that they will discuss it further later. After having a chat with Kelly, Matthew gets to know that Danielle is back to the porn profession, and she is heading for Las Vegas with her ex-boyfriend and porn producer, Kelly. Matthew attempts to persuade her to stay, but she seems to have already made up her mind. After that, three of them go to a strip club, where Matthew learns that Kelly and Danielle were dating and have previously collaborated on several projects. In the next scene, we see Danielle and Kelly heading for Vegas. Before leaving, she tells Matthew that despite her efforts to move from her past, it still haunts her from time to time. Matthew, filled with sorrow and remorse, tells his friends that none of this would have happened if he hadn't brought Danielle to the motel. Later, they all decide to visit Danielle in Las Vegas. They travel to Vegas in search for her and find her performing in an adult film conference. There, Matthew senses Danielle's dissatisfaction and apologizes for his actions. Danielle then meets Hugo, Kelly's rival, who offers Danielle a job and pledges to make her the best model in the world. When Matthew persuades Danielle to leave the industry, she respectfully demands that he return back. Meanwhile, Kelly spots Matthew and gives him a harsh warning not to influence Danielle's decision or interfere with his company. After that, Matthew and his buddies head home, since Matthew's debate competition for Georgetown University scholarship is the next day. The next day, Danielle comes to Matthew's house, drives him to school, and offers to accompany him to prom. Matthew is really apprehensive about today's tournament. He understands that if he does not win the tournament, he would not be able to attend Georgetown University. When Matthew looks out the window of the classroom, he discovers Kelly staring at him. Kelly storms into the classroom, abducts Matthew, and attacks him, claiming that Danielle's inability to show up for work had cost him $30,000. Matthew then proposes that he will refund his money in small installments. Kelly, on the other hand, provides him some drugs, telling him it's aspirin for his headache, and also promises to help him pay off his debt. He offers that all his debt will be excluded if he is able to sneak into rival producer Hugo Posh's house and steal an award trophy. After accepting the deal, Matthew enters Hugo's building, but Kelly puts in a robbery complaint and flees the premises after Matthew has entered. Matthew narrowly avoids being apprehended by the cops and runs to his scholarship dinner. It turns out that the aspirin Kelly gave Matthew was in fact ecstasy. The drug begins to take effect and he loses his wits. He begins to act strangely and kisses one of his classmates. Despite this, he improvises a deeply sentimental speech, but loses out on the scholarship to a student who resembles nothing so much as the passionless, pre-Danielle version of Matthew. However, Danielle turns out to like his speech very much. When Matthew goes to the bank the next day, he discovers that Kelly has taken the $25,000 that Matthew collected to bring Samnang, a promising Cambodian kid, to study in the United States. Matthew had earlier presented Kelly to the bank personnel as his student advisor, not wishing to reveal his links to the adult film business. Despite the fact that Matthew had done nothing illegal, he is concerned that his unintentional involvement in the deception may result in expulsion or criminal charges, and he seeks Danielle's assistance. Danielle and Matthew develop a plan to gather the funds and get themselves out of danger. Danielle takes the help of a couple of her former porn star friends who agree to film a movie for Hugo Posh on prom night and on school grounds. Matthew also visits Hugo and apologizes for his actions and returns the prize he took from him. On the day of the prom night, Matthew is with Danielle, while two of Matthew's buddies, Eli and Klitz, attend with Danielle's friends, the porn stars. The football players are astounded to see them with the lovely girls. They approach Matthew and inquire if the females are porn stars, to which Matthew says yes. Matthew then offers them a film session with the girls. The boys accept the offer and start shooting. After the shoot is successfully completed, Danielle and Matthew make love for the first time in their limousine. Despite Danielle's past, it is the first time she has truly made love. Meanwhile, Eli is dropped off with the tape's master copy. The next morning, Eli phones Matthew to notify him that the master copy of the film they created has been stolen. After hearing the news, Matthew is quite upset. He then returns home, where he is surprised to see Kelly, who is in possession of the tape he took from Eli's house. Seated at the dining room table with his parents and school principal, Kelly requests a private meeting with Matthew and threatens to play the footage immediately unless he is granted half of all revenues. Matthew, who had previously been advised by Danielle to just go with it, rejects, since the money belongs to Samnang, the Cambodian student. Kelly continues his threat, but Matthew stands up for himself and challenges him, declaring that his now ruined future is no longer important to him. Instead, he says that Hugo will take care of whatever has to be done because he is his partner. The recording is then played in front of Matthew's parents and the principal by Kelly. As the tape plays, it becomes evident that Matthew and his friends have created a progressive, all-encompassing sex education tape rather than a pornographic film. The film is structured in such a way that it provides sex advice to youngsters. Matthew and his friends are praised by everyone in the room for their efforts. Kelly, who assumed the video would be an explicit film, is left speechless. Kelly ultimately accepts defeat after running out of cards to play and being stunned to watch the footage. Hugo Posh and Matthew earn a fortune off the video, and both of them are titled as the sex educators. Hugo Posh follows through on his promise and pays for Samnang's trip to the United States, while Matthew has enough money to attend Georgetown and bring Danielle to DC with him. Eli and Klitz become well known and wealthy as a result of their fame. In the final scene, Matthew drives into Georgetown University in a BMW Z4. Matthew's narrative concludes with him marrying the girl of his dreams and achieving the future he had always desired.